Is the Gerber machete any good? Well, I'm going to find out today. Gerber makes a couple machetes, a full size and the junior. This one's the junior, which means the blade is a little bit shorter. That can make it more compact and easy to carry around. You can get these for around $30 or less. Let's look at the sheath. It feels okay and has some nice stiffness to it. There's a belt loop and some Velcro to hold the blade nice and tight in the sheath. It's made in China, which isn't really a surprise. A lot of Gerber stuff is made in China. Does that mean it's not good? Not necessarily, so we'll keep an open mind. What immediately stands out is the saw blade on the back. It has pretty big and aggressive teeth, so we'll be sure to test that out. There's a hole near the top. That's really just to hang it up on a nail. The handle feels nice. It's rubber and has a good grip. It has a guard so you can choke up. These screws holding the blade into the handle tells me that the tang probably ends around here. Overall, feels pretty solid. I'm going to sharpen it up a little bit and we're going to go out and do some survival type tests. I'm out here with the machete and I'm in front of a small bamboo forest. It's not native to the area, but it was planted here decades ago. Usually when people think of machetes, they think of the jungle, so this will be a good start. Pretty good, one slice. I'm going to try to take down some dead ones here. Okay, I think we got a good sense of its ability to chop bamboo, so let's move on to a different test. Okay, our next test is going to be cutting some brush here. These are some barberries. Let's say you needed to clear some paths through here. How well can it chop? I doubt it'll have any issue. One thing I'm immediately noticing with this is the length. Because this is a shorter blade than the full-size machete, your hand is a lot closer to what you're swinging at. And a lot of the times you'll end up hitting your hand on the bush more than with a full-size machete. And with a bush like that has thorns, that's not good. If you have gloves, it's a little bit better, but that's something to keep in mind. Otherwise, it did a really good job. We'll move on to the next test. In a survival scenario, gathering firewood is very important. Fires are an important aspect of survival because it allows you to either get heat, cook food, or boil water. So let's say all you had was this machete. Let's see how well it would do at gathering and processing firewood. This will definitely be its hardest test so far. This tree here is a small tree and it's a little bit fractured. That's because a bigger tree fell on it and damaged it. So I'm going to take it down with this machete. It's leaning a little bit, so I'm going to cut it from the underside. So looking at the blade here, I don't see any chips, which is good. It took it down pretty well. There's not a whole lot of weight behind it, so it does tire you out a little bit. I wouldn't go for many trees, maybe any bigger than that. That seems to be a good size. Obviously you wouldn't take down a giant tree with a machete. You would take down a small tree that you think you could do. This one worked pretty well, although it was, again, kind of split already. So if it was a full tree, it would take me a little bit longer, but I'm pretty happy with this, and it held up nice. The blade is still really nice and sturdy. I was a little worried these screws would start backing out, but I tightened them down a little bit, and no issues right now. Again, I don't know, over prolonged use, would they start coming out? I'm not too sure, but it seems really well right now. So we're gonna go test out the saw now and split the wood a little bit. I'll just say right now, the saw blade is not good. It's really bad. Maybe this branch is a little too big, but I thought it would do a lot better than this. It's really rough, not cutting very well, and you could not do this for a long time. It would tire you out really quickly. Yeah, this saw blade's not good, but you know what? If it's all you had, you'd have to deal with it. Or maybe get a smaller tree. You'd probably want to get a smaller tree, maybe some branches on the ground, some already dead stuff. This is pretty tough to get through right now. Oh my gosh. Well, I got through it. As you can see, it wasn't even a full stump. It's just like half of it there. So, realistically, in a survival scenario where you need to get wood, trying to use this saw is just not a great idea, to me at least. That saw is terrible. And that took me a long time to get through, just a small amount. That'll tire you out really quickly, and if you're really in a survival scenario, guys, you don't want to be exerting that much just to get through a tiny piece of wood like that. You're better off, you know, walking around finding branches or cutting some branches off of trees and stuff like that and using that as firewood. You're trying to use this saw, just, to me, it's not a great idea because it's not very good. Alright, let's say you found some branches and cut up some logs too. Let's see how well it does at actually processing that wood for fire. Let's try the saw on the smaller piece like this. You know what? It's easier just to break it with your hand, really, or your knee. Like, look. Alright, that one's a little hard. What you can do is, you know, get it started with that little cut, and then you can use your knee rather than trying to hold it and chop, maybe hitting your hand and stuff. So you can do that. Okay, so you see we managed to chop that piece of wood. Certain knives are better, like heavier, thicker knives are better at getting through this stuff. This thin machete doesn't really do a great job. It got through though. This is usually a hard test and where a lot of knives fail. Yeah, the blade still feels nice and stiff. Doesn't look bent to me either. Looks like overall it held up pretty well at this. Let's go to the final test. My last test is going to be fire making, seeing how well it scrapes a fire steel. So it looks like there's two good places to scrape the fire steel. I don't recommend doing it on the blade. You can ruin your blade that way. But there's a flat spot here and a flat spot on the spine. So you can either go here or on the back. Either way works. For this, I just have some dryer lint. Alright, so I'd say that's pretty successful. We can keep building that fire, but I'm just going to leave it, maybe put it out. But as you can see, the machete scraped the fire still pretty well and was able to create a fire with steel wool, obviously. Super easy to do. So overall, I like it. It's pretty good. For 30 bucks, it's a pretty good deal. I mean, I know there's $5 machetes, $10 machetes. There's probably $100 machetes, $200 machetes. You know, for $30, made in China, it's inexpensive, but overall, it was pretty good. It performed pretty well in the tests. Could be better in certain aspects, like the saw, but overall, I think it's all right. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and leave a like and subscribe. It's much appreciated. I'll see you around.